the other. The Seattle Seahawks, a team that many are considering to be Super Bowl favorites, fell in overtime to the Cardinals last week. It was kind of a back-and-forth game. Russell Wilson threw a big pick that kind of set up that game-winning drive in late overtime. So the big question now is how concerned should Seattle fans be, especially after holding that 13-point lead at halftime and kind of letting things fall apart in the second half and overtime?
That's the dumbest question I've ever heard. If there are Seahawks fans that are concerned, then you don't watch football.
I agree.
I mean, look, you went up against one of the best secondaries in the league. And, Russ didn't have a good night. He threw 3 interceptions in a game. That's the most he's ever thrown in I don't know how long. But it's been a hot sec. If you're concerned, then just watch next week because, I feel like you're going to beat the 49ers.
Yeah, I think they're going to rip through them, although after last week, who knows?
Well, what this might show you guys is you might have a problem against good secondaries. But we probably won't know that until next week against the 49ers secondary, which is not as good as the Cardinals, but again, it's decent. But then again, I still think you're going to win. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about that.
I agree. The reason I brought this question up is because there's the constant drama about how when an undefeated team loses and there's issues exposed. Yeah, look, it is it's a dumb consideration to even think Seattle fans should be concerned. You're 5-1. Yes, you were slipping a bit the last few weeks, but look at your offensive weapons. You got the best quarterback in football, in my opinion. I know Patrick Mahomes would have a case to the contrary, but the way Russell Wilson has been playing, he's the best quarterback in football this season. They got a great running back core with Hyde and Carson, and even though that's a little banged up and we'll have to see where that goes, I think they'll be okay. The O-line is way better than it's been in past years, and then you have that receiving core of Metcalf and Lockett. Lockett, who, by the way, went for 200 yards and 13 receptions and a couple touchdowns. So, no, there's no – look, the defense is bad, maybe one of the worst in the league, and maybe you have to make a deal at the trade deadline. But in terms of being worried about winning the division, I would not be that concerned. I think Arizona is a great team, but I think the next time you guys meet at CenturyLink, it's going to be a different story. Yeah. And then going off that Arizona Cardinals thing, do you think Arizona's consistent enough to lock down that wildcard spot? Because obviously they're sitting at 4-2, I think. Good performance, but they lost to the Panthers and the Lions. The Panthers are a decent team. The Lions have really struggled. So the question here is, can they really stay consistent enough to lock down that playoff spot?
Well, I think the worst of those 2 losses comes from the Lions. I think the Panthers are a surprising team. They're probably going to end with a 8-8 record because they're average. Not average in a bad way, but they surprised all of us. A lot of us thought they were going to tank for Trevor with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. Turns out he's actually good.
Yeah, he's very good.
Their defense is solid, and that's surprising because Luke Kuechly retired last year.
And also Thomas Davis is in Los Angeles with the Chargers. So that whole linebacker core of the team that made it to the Super Bowl in 2015 is gone.
I think that loss shouldn't concern Cardinals fans. I think they're still going to get a wild card spot. But what you do got to look at is the Lions loss because that just opened the Cardinals wide open. It was a 2-point loss, though, right? Yeah,
it was close. I think the Cardinals actually blew a lead. By the way, Thomas Davis is on the football team now. Was on the Chargers at the beginning of the year, I guess.
So inaccurate, but
like you knew,
they're gonna get a wild card spot, probably with the 7 spot playoff thing now. So I think that's inevitable. I think the 49ers also have a good chance of getting a wild card spot.
I think the Rams have a better shot than the Niners, personally. I know
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know
not the 49ers, the Rams.
I know the Niners beat them, but I do think that the Rams are better positioned to finish at least third in that division.
I also think all of them could.
Yeah, fair.
Because the 49ers do still have a good defense, even without Bosa. and their offense isn't too bad, especially with Kittle, and Jimmy G is a decent quarterback. He's your mom's favorite quarterback, that's for sure.
Not my mom's.
I'm talking to the audience, all your mom's favorite quarterback. But yeah, that's what I have to say about the West.
Yeah, I think Arizona's consistent enough to make the playoffs. I think they're going to have the inevitable letdown game. I mean, think about it, right? You got a young quarterback in his second professional season. The man wasn't even sure he wanted to play professional football until April of 2019. And he's been really, really impressive. We're going to touch on him in a minute. I mean, look, against Seattle, he was incredible. I mean, I think 3 or 4 touchdowns, threw for over 350 yards, ran for a bunch of yards as well. Part of the reason why our boy Sorna won in fantasy, the other part was the 53 spot for Lockett. But, this is a good team that's going to have ups and downs. The defense will sometimes be a little spotty, even though it's been good overall. I mean, I think Murray and D-Hop look great together, but also you have the backfield, right? There's concerns about how you figure that out. With Drake out the next couple weeks, maybe Edmonds has a bigger role, but this team is good enough and consistent enough to make the playoffs. And while they do have a tough division to play in, I think they're good enough to beat the Niners, and I think they're probably even good enough to handle the Rams a couple times. So, yes, long story short, I do believe the Cardinals are consistent enough to make the playoffs. And then speaking of that quarterback who won Offensive Rookie of the Year last season, Kyler Murray has gotten MVP hype, especially after last week. And I'm just curious, Joe. I mean, Joe's had a very biased opinion here. He is not a Kyler Murray stan. I don't fully blame him for saying that he's been a little gassed up. But after last week, Joe, is the MVP
little? I get it.
Yeah. But last week, Joe, after last week, is the MVP talk a little premature for Kyler Murray?
I don't think it's premature at all. He's been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the season. And shown. People had him as a dark horse candidate, and I think he's now the top 5 candidate for MVP. I do think Wilson is, better than him, and if any quarterback in the West got it, it would be Wilson.
Yep.
But no, he definitely deserves to be in the debate now. He's played great football in the past 7 weeks, and I mean, unless he just doesn't perform for the next 9, then he's going to be in the debates.
For me, I do think it's a little early. You look at his numbers. I mean, 13 touchdowns passing, 7 picks. His pass completion rate's good, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many other great quarterbacks this season. I think Russell Wilson is leaps and bounds beyond him. I think that this MVP talk that he's been getting was really fueled off his first 2 weeks, and then the fact that now he's beaten Russell Wilson and kind of did outduel him down the stretch. For me, I just think Russell Wilson's clearly better. Mahomes is clearly better. I mean, I think Kyler Murray's been arguably better than Lamar this season. Rodgers is obviously better. Tom Brady's been better, especially the last couple weeks. So I think that Murray is on the outside looking in clearly on that debate. I think his legs have really added that added dimension of threat that has really kind of propelled him into this debate. But I do think that he is a little too erratic at times to really be considered over these veterans who just look a little more polished out there.
Sure. Yeah.